An entire civilization will collapse tonight. This is the fourth threat, the final threat that Trump has made to Iran. A very serious threat that puts all the countries of the Middle East on the brink of eruption. But did Iran take the bait, or is Saleh and Epstein the one falling into the trap today as well? Today, we will reveal to you the details of the decisive hours. How did America and Israel divide the roles to strike at the heart of the Iranian economy? And how did Iran start exploiting the political and military foolishness of the Epstein alliance? We will see together the secrets of this shocking Iranian response and how things are developing today, making Iran one of the world's major powers. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to today's new episode of the Opinion series, which we always dedicate to keep up with the latest developments in this war taking place in the Middle East between Iran and the Epstein alliance. It is clear, dear viewers, that we are entering a new phase of dangerous escalation. After Iran rejected any war truce in the way the alliance wants, meaning a temporary halt to this war, everyone, of course, is waiting to see what will happen in the coming hours. What will be the scale of this American attack after the threats from President Trump? Today, he clearly stated that an entire civilization will collapse tonight. He threatened Iran that he would completely destroy it and end this Persian civilization that has lasted for thousands of years. Of course, if Iran does not submit, if Iran does not accept the Pakistani proposal to stop the war, the new development today, dear viewers, is that there were airstrikes by the Epstein alliance on a number of areas in Iran. America carried out airstrikes on military sites on Karg Island. Of course, 90% of Iranian oil exports come from there, while Israel carried out airstrikes on civilian facilities. In Iranian cities, for example, bridges, power stations, roads, and so on. It's as if they divided these tasks. America bombs the military facilities and Israel bombs the civilian and sensitive facilities. And of course, this didn't happen randomly. Let's pay close attention here. This is not random. It didn't happen by chance. This was done out of fear of the Iranian response, and it followed a policy of evasion and deception. The goal was to keep the Iranian response away from the Gulf countries. So, it's clear today that America only took on the task of striking military facilities, while the task of striking civilian and energy facilities was left to Israel. Why? So that the Iranian response would be directed at Israel and not at American interests in the Gulf countries, including, of course, oil facilities, energy facilities, water desalination plants, and so on. But here, just so everyone knows, we're talking about a joint military aggression. We're talking about the Epstein alliance. There's no difference between America and Israel. It's a single act of aggression, and the war came from both of them together. So you can't deceive Iran with such stupidity. Claiming that it's Israel, not America, that is bombing civilian facilities, or that the petrochemical facilities in an area and city called Asaluya were bombed in Israel. In Iran, it's Israel, not America. That doesn't make sense. Iran, as usual since the beginning of this war, is following the principle of an eye for an eye. They say that the destruction of Iran will be met with the complete destruction of the region. And today, even if we're talking about this Iranian response directed only at Israel, the Iranian response will be shocking. At that time, there was a report published by the Israeli newspaper The Jerusalem Post, which said that the Russians, meaning Russia, provided Iran with a list of 55 vital targets inside Israel, meaning from the vital energy infrastructure in Israel, targets that Iran will destroy if America carries out this attack on Iran's energy facilities. The Iranian Tasnim news agency also said that Iran has a target ready for retaliation. It said that in addition to the infrastructure or energy infrastructure, Iran will also destroy bridges and also destroy main roads, train stations, and so on. And these targets are specified by Iran with very high precision. For example, today in Iran, they say that there are road tunnels and railway tunnels, and that just by destroying their entrance, the road will be completely cut off. A group of vital cities, for example, between Haifa and Tel Aviv, in addition to the commercial ports. So the matter is very serious, even for Israel, not just for the Gulf countries. Today, Iran responded, meaning it carried out a wide-scale attack on Saudi Arabia, targeting American military bases in Saudi Arabia, and also targeting American companies in Saudi Arabia. For example, a petrochemical complex belonging to the American company ExxonMobil, located in an area called Jubail in Saudi Arabia, for example, was also hit. Another complex belonging to the American company Chevron Phillips in Saudi Arabia was also struck. Petrochemical facilities in Israel were also targeted, near Dimona. Were American military bases hit in the UAE, in Kuwait? Are we talking about that? A maintenance and repair center belonging to the US Navy was hit in the UAE. Also, a group of radars and residential buildings belonging to US forces were hit in Kuwait. These are the strikes. The Iranian response is ongoing, meaning Iran has warned America not to cross the red lines. And it said that it has not been and will not be the first to target civilians or civilian targets at all, but it also said that any targeting of civilian facilities will make it change the rules of engagement, so it will also target civilian facilities. In Israel and in all the countries of the region, Iran said that the Iranian response at that time would reach a level where the countries of the region would be forced to respond. This means that at that point they will enter the war directly and openly, meaning there will be a major regional war in the area. And at that point, of course, no one can determine exactly what the shape and fate of the Middle East will be. Iran said that at that point the world would go for many years without any oil or gas from this region, meaning that the world would have to get oil and gas from other areas like Russia, Venezuela, and so on. And that would be at prices exceeding $200 per barrel. That means we're talking about many years in this situation, so the threat is very serious. If Trump starts this attack on Iranian energy facilities, it will be dangerous for the whole world. So Iran, dear viewers, is steadfast, victorious, and as I said yesterday, is in a comfortable position today. Iran, just as it deceived Trump and made him fall into this quagmire, into this war, also wants Trump to fall into this other quagmire by striking Iran's infrastructure and energy facilities, because then above all, this will be considered a war crime. Trump's international opponents are hoping this scenario happens, because then they will exploit this event and demand that Trump be tried for war crimes. So be very careful, this is very serious. They will get rid of Trump. Meanwhile, Iran will also take advantage of the opportunity to make its response legal, so that its targeting of civilian facilities in Israel will be considered legal. Why? Because it only came as a response to what they did. That's why Trump has actually been in trouble since the beginning of this war. He threatens, but he can't carry out these threats, and if he does carry out any threat, he finds himself in another quagmire, an even bigger one. Iran has actually proven that it is not Venezuela, and it is not like the Arab countries today. The American newspaper, the New York Times, said that this war is turning Iran into a global power. It said that this war has shown the world how Iran has become one of the world's major powers. This is an American newspaper, and it says this, it acknowledges this. And this war truly confirms the strength of this new trilateral alliance, which includes Russia, China, and Iran. They have been achieving successes ever since Trump came to power. They are achieving victory after victory. We could say it becomes a four-way alliance if we add North Korea as well. Dear viewers, today Iran dealt the Epstein alliance a major blow, a blow that no one in the world was expecting. A container ship was docked at one of the Emirati ports overlooking the Gulf of Oman. We are specifically talking about the Khor Fakkan port, which belongs to the Emirate of Fujairah. This means it is not connected to the Strait of Hormuz. It's a port that can handle all ships without the need to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. That's what's important. This ship was being loaded with containers full of military equipment, and it was expected to transport this military equipment to Israel. But Iranian intelligence uncovered this operation from the very beginning with remarkable precision. So Iran let things proceed as they wanted according to the arrangements, as if it knew nothing. And after they finished loading all this military equipment onto such a ship, at that moment the ship was bombed with remarkable precision by naval missiles, perhaps after it had moved only a few meters. The strike was very powerful, and it was shocking for the Epstein alliance, because this strike was more of an intelligence operation than a military one. The strike confirmed that everything in the UAE is being monitored by Iranian intelligence. It was also a strong message that Iran sent to all international shipping vessels as a warning against cooperating with the Epstein alliance in any way. Beware of trying to deceive Iran with such operations, because the result will be disastrous. For example, the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Air Force, Mousavi, said that the war is now entering a new phase. He said that the attacks you have seen before will be doubled in the coming stage. He said that this will be because Iran has now started using new platforms to launch missiles, carrying 2 missiles, one of the Fatah type and one of the Keba Shekan type. This means that each missile platform will now be able to launch 2 missiles at once instead of just one as before, also. Among the important events that would have also been a big shock for America today is the fall of an advanced missile in an area of Iran, but it did not explode. This means that the missile is now in the hands of the Iranians, and as usual, it will be dismantled or subjected to what is called reverse engineering, meaning that Iran will gain access to these technologies. With this missile, they might manufacture local versions of it, maybe even more advanced models, just like what happened in previous experiments. This missile is the GBU-39 missile, an air-launched guided missile. It's a destructive missile, capable of destroying buildings, warehouses, and other military targets, such as radars and more. Today, there was also a cruise missile, a guided model aimed at striking the center of Tehran. But by a divine miracle, it also did not explode. And this, in turn, will also be subjected to reverse engineering. Surely Iran will uncover new secrets and formulas. I mean, regarding these weapons, one of the truly remarkable things today, one of the things that confirms how impossible it is to subdue this country, Iran, how impossible it is to make Iran surrender, is the presence of this great people, the Iranian people. Why am I saying this today? Why now? I mean, these developments, today's news. For example, after the Epstein coalition started bombing the bridges, the Iranian people did not hide in underground shelters, they did not stay at home, they did not lie in the streets, hiding or anything like that. On the contrary, they went out to these bridges, young men, women, and children, and formed human chains while carrying Iranian flags. They were willing to sacrifice themselves so that these bridges would not be bombed. They sent a strong message. If you want to bomb this bridge, then go ahead. But with everyone being martyred, with a crime that will be recorded in all history books and will probably be documented as a war crime and more. So a people like this cannot simply be abandoned. A country that is completely held hostage by an external party. Today, it's been almost 40 days since the beginning of this war. And life in Iran is very normal. They live a regular life. They go shopping, go out to parks, and so on. And we saw before how they were in a massive march and an airstrike happened near them, but they didn't retreat at all, as if nothing happened. We saw that. How volunteering was opened up to anyone who wanted to take up arms in this war to defend Iran. And the number of people who applied to volunteer exceeded 14 million people. So honestly, a country whose people are of this kind cannot collapse. It cannot be completely defeated. Why is that? Because they have a strong belief, they have sound educational, academic and media grounding, not on the foundations of Epstein and people like him. So this is the difference today. The important thing is, all that's left is to see what Trump will do after these threats he calls his latest threats. We'll see how things turn out in the next few hours. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. See you next time.